Welcome everyone to the LEGO Star Wars 2, the original trilogy yearly recap for 2025. Special thank you to all of the runners who helped make this year amazing, and I look forward to seeing what 2026 has to offer. This recap will go month by month, looking at the records, the new strategies, leaderboard changes, and anything else significant that happened during this past year. For anyone who's watching this and is not currently in the LEGO speedrunning community, I would highly recommend that you check out our Discord server so that you can learn more about the different games that we play and maybe even try one for yourself. And with that, I will pass it over to Tfresh, who will be recapping the first few months of the year.
The first month of the year only contained one record. On January 27th, Saber set a gonk percent record on PlayStation, which was not only the first gonk percent run on that platform, but also the first run to use a PlayStation emulator. At the beginning of February, gonk percent was officially added to the category extensions board. As a result, Saber set a batch of records over a variety of categories in a single day. The PlayStation record dropped 3 times, setting a 26, 25, and ending the day with a 23.55, a 4-second cut overall. A few days later, Saber also set 3 records in the PC version of the game, with the fastest run coming in at 21.067. Finally, for the month of February, we moved to the free play category. Because Saber had looked into the PS2 emulator, he also made a free play save file, allowing him to complete the first PlayStation free play runs that had been performed. On February 4th, he set the first record with a 45.29. 2 days later, he lowered the run by almost 2 minutes, setting a 43.34. No records were set in the month of March, but that was followed up by one of the biggest months for this game's activity. On April 17th, Prince, Senor, Bricko, and myself all stepped down from the moderation team. I just have to say, coming from myself, this game has meant so much, and I am so grateful to everyone for all the help, all of the resource finding, all the glitch hunting, all the pushing of records. Thank you guys all so much. Shout out to Gus and Saber. No one else could have done as good of a job as they are at moderating this game. April was also the month that we found cheat codes and unlocked extras for this game. Previously, the community believed these did not exist for this game. The list has now been documented and means that it is much easier for players on any platform to set up save files for free play categories. April also brought on a massive amount of new records. Saber returned to gonk percent, first setting 2 new records in the PlayStation version of the game, the latter being an 18.067, which stands as the record to this day. Saber also set 2 new records in the PC version, lowering the record to an 18.550. The next day, Bixel set a new PC record with an 18.150, which notably used a different strategy to use the outside studs rather than trying to duplicate the studs in the cantina. Later that same day, Saber lowered the record 2 full seconds to a 16.150 using stud duping, which stands as the record to this day. A few days later, Bixel and Quasar set the co-op record on PC with an incredible time of 15.867. The final gonk percent record of April came from Saber on the GameCube platform, beating Pickletoe's record that was set all the way back in March of 2021. The record was improved by a little over a second, with a 17.417. Red Brick Rush also saw some activity, with Saber performing the first runs on PlayStation to set 4 new records. It started with a 53.27 on April 11th, and by the 16th, he had lowered the time to a 48.49. Saber also improved his time on the PC version, cutting a couple minutes off of the record and setting a 42.50 loadless. He finished off by lowering the GameCube record a couple of minutes to a 48.18. Moving on to the free play category, Saber returned to 3 platforms, setting 1 new record on PlayStation, 2 new records on PC, and another record on GameCube. Towards the end of the month, myself and Saber set a few records for Xbox Free Play Co-op. We set a first time of 40.37. and the next day set 2 records, a 37.04 and a 36.16. Notably, this co-op time is faster than the current solo record for this category. And that caps off the end of April. I'm going to pass it on over to Gus, who will be recapping the middle portion of this year.
While there were no records set in the month of May or June, Fry Skip, which was freshly implemented into TCS runs, was also being explored in this game. Bixel released a tutorial for Fry Skip at the end of the month, showcasing the pre-cantina setup. Towards the end of July, Colton set a new record in 10 bounties, marking the first record in almost 2 years. The record was lowered by 15 seconds to an 8:14. In August, Tfresh and Saber set a couple of records in 10 bounties co-op. On August 2nd, they lowered the record twice, ending with an 8:25. 10 bounties also saw a category split into two unique subcategories, New Game Plus and New Game. New Game Plus is playing the 10 bounties post-game, while New Game starts from a fresh file. This category is unique for using a trick to enter the 10 bounties door early after only completing episode 4 and obtaining 2 additional gold bricks. On the 2nd, Tfresh and Saber completed the first run of this category co-op with a time of 40 minutes and 51 seconds. A couple days later, Tfresh lowered the 10 bounties solo record down to an 8:09. With this return to the category, Tfresh was determined to achieve a sub 8 minute time, which would be the final minute barrier in the category. On August 20th, he did just that, setting a 7:59, an incredible achievement for the category. Colton implemented new strategies to lower the episode 4 Xbox Super Stories record. He cut the time by about 50 seconds, taking the record to a 14:48. A new record was also set on the PC version, with Luke getting a 26:01, the first run of this category on PC. Back on the main board, Colton set a new record on Xbox Any Percent, his first record in the category. He beat Cedum Nastek's record by 19 seconds, setting a 1 hour, 27 minute and 13 second time. That is the final record we have to cover this month, so let's get Colton's reaction to take us into the final months of the year.
Alright, now just walk properly.
Don't lose time.
Oh my god!
Oh my god. It's over!
Let's go, dude!
Yes!
Fucking go!
GG.
Fuck, dude, let's
Yeah,
go!
That's so good. Dude,
Yes!
how much did you lose in that
Oh my
level?
God.
I lost like 30, dude. Oh
Bro.
my god, I lost. Oh,
You were on pace to
dude.
beat
Oh
record
my
by a
god.
minute.
Oh my god. 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 Oh my god.
Dude,
It's
man.
fucking done. Oh.
Moving on to the last 4 months of the year, September brought us one new record. A new PlayStation Any Percent record set by Kulesto on September 25th. His final time was a 1:48.55, the first PlayStation record set in almost 4 years. Moving on to October, Kulesto released a practice code for the GameCube emulator, which allowed you to skip cutscenes and set spawn points to warp back to practice different sections. We also saw a couple of new records set in the 10 bounties category, with Colton and myself setting a first ever GameCube co-op record on October 31st. That 10 bounties run was the latter part of a full 10 bounties new game run, with the overall time being a 53:15. Heading into November, we return back to our console GOAT, Kulesto, who set a new GameCube Any Percent record with a 1:33.35 on November 28th, which is the first time in years that we have a valid, up-to-date run with current-day strategies. Towards the end of November, I revealed the world record progression sheet, which broke down the record history for every category on every platform this game has to offer. It also shows a leaderboard for the runners who have set the most records on both the main board and the category extensions board. There's still plenty of empty spaces, and I can't wait to see how this will fill up as we continue through 2026. December was the biggest month of speedrunning for this game, potentially ever. On December 10th, we were given the green light to have an official LEGO Star Wars 2 Discord server, which would act as a hub for all resources and game discussion moving forward. Moving on to some board changes, Colton was added to the boards as a verifier, who's been a great help as we've seen an increase in activity. We also saw the addition of 3 new categories to the category extensions board, that being all episode bonuses, Mini Kit Rush, and All True Jedi. All episode bonuses entails playing all of the character bonus levels and Minikit bonus levels, which can be found at the end of each episode door. Minikit Rush is a free play category where you need to collect all 180 minikits from an already completed file where you can use any of the characters and extras that you want to. All True Jedi was split into 3 separate subcategories since LEGO Star Wars 2 tracks story and free play True Jedis separately. Finally, for board changes, there was an ongoing conversation about the use of a PlayStation emulator for PlayStation runs. Previously, these were accepted without question, but due to the inactivity of people running on physical PlayStation consoles, we did not realize how bad the load discrepancy really was. After reaching the conclusion that the emulator had a clear load advantage, we moved to separate that from the PlayStation category and give it its own console category with the addition of EMU. Finally, before we move into the many records of December, the final big addition in December was the release of a full LEGO Star Wars 2 free-play tutorial. This was commentated and edited by myself, with help from Tfresh for some console-specific sections. Getting into the records for December, we're going to start on the category extensions board. We saw a new Xbox Gonk% record set by Colton on December 5th. With the addition of all episode bonuses, I set a GameCube record of 23 minutes and 27 seconds on the 1st of the month. And about a week later, we also saw a PC record set by Luke Skywalker with a 32:44. There was also activity for some of the other new categories. On December 6th, there was an all-true Jedi story race, which included myself, Colton, Luke, and Kulesto. This race led to 1 forfeit and 3 new separate console records, that being a PlayStation record in 3:52:28 by Kulesto, a PC record in 5:02:36 by Luke, and a GameCube record in 3:31:56 by myself. About a week later, I also set a GameCube time for All True Jedi Free Play, getting a 2:04:47. Moving over to Minikit Rush, I set a couple of records across different platforms. On December 2nd, I set a first ever GameCube time of 2:15:58, which I lowered a few days later to a 1:30:27, a very significant improvement over my initial run. I also set a record on the PC version on that very same day, with a 1:25:50 loadless time. Moving on to a couple of other categories, we saw Luke Skywalker set some new records on the PC version of the game. He started out on December 10th, setting a 10 bounties new game record of 54:50. The next day, he set the first ever replay story run done on the PC version, with a 2:16:12. We also saw the GameCube replay story record lowered a couple of times. On December 13th, Kulesto set a 1:31:24, and then on that very same day, he lowered the run to a 1:28:57. Cool continued his record streak on December 23rd, lowering the GameCube 10 bounties time to an 11:55, and then to an 11:52 on the very next day. Moving over to the main board, I set a new record for GameCube All Mini Kits with a 4-hour, 10-minute, and 49-second time. And to finish off the year, we returned to Any%, where we had a pair of new records set. Colton set a new Xbox Any% record on December 25th. His final time was a 1:26:45, which is not only a great Christmas present for him, but an amazing way to end off his year of speedrunning this game. And then a couple of days later, Kulesto set a new PlayStation Any% record, getting a 1:43:27 on December 27th. And that wraps up all of the world records that were set in 2025. Thank you all so much for this last year of LEGO Star Wars 2 speedrunning. I want to give a special thanks to Tfresh and Gus for helping make this video, as well as all of the amazing runners for setting these records to make this possible. I cannot wait to see what we all achieve in 2026.